What's up, everyone? Welcome back to our channel. Guess where we are? We're back in our hometown, Orlando. It's chilly weather. Don't laugh at us, guys, but it's literally 45, 50 degrees today. That's actually the low. It's super cold for us. But anyhow, we got a gentleman, his name is Tay, invite us over to check out his two tanks. He's got a 75-gallon Red Sea tank, and he's got, I think, another, well, I'm not sure what kind of tank it is. The other one's like a 20-gallon tank. I went inside, I took a quick peek. They look amazing, but I'm gonna show you guys the rest. So let's go inside and check it out. Let's go. Ted, how are you, buddy?
Good to meet you.
Thank you for inviting us over. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I literally came inside early, and I'm so impressed with how beautiful this mixed reef is.
Thank you.
For our audience, every time that I see a mixed reef and it's not full of rare corals, my eyes lit up because it shows everyone's, I was just talking to you, everyone's after all these rare corals,
right,
the latest and greatest. And I never, it's great if that's what you're after, if you're collecting. But to me, you build one of the most beautiful reef tanks that I've seen all year round. And it's a lot of common corals. I mean, some of the multiporas, just an orange digitata, spongioides. You got right here a green torch coral,
yep,
setosa coral, Raja Rampage. You got a bizarro cyphestria there. You got a stylophora, but it looks simply amazing. So healthy. So let me start with some of the questions. How long have you been in the hobby?
I started in reef keeping in 2004.
Okay.
So about almost 20 years coming
Almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And what got you into it back then?
I mean, I had been keeping fish since as long as I could remember.
Yeah.
And I had a saltwater tank for a little while when I worked like at a fish store when I was just out of college.
Okay.
And I kind of always in the back of my mind, wanted to keep a reef. And then when I met my wife and we kind of moved in together, I was like, I'm doing it. I'm setting something up. So I started with a 16-gallon bow front and just kind of progressed.
And the rest is history,
yeah.
Huh? Wow. And this specific tank is what, a 70?
This is a Red Sea Reefer 350.
Okay.
So the display is like 72 gallons and then plus the stomp.
Roughly 80-gallon display tank?
Yeah.
And how long has this specific tank been running?
This one's been set up since March of 2019.
5 years next year?
Just almost 5 years, yeah.
Almost 5 years. And you started this with brand new rocks from scratch?
So this was actually the first tank that I ever set up with just, not live rock. All my previous tanks were all live rock. So this was all just bare white rock, except for maybe like a couple little pieces of rubble. And it went through a lot of growing pains. This was the hardest tank I've ever set up.
Why? Why would you say that?
Because, I went through everything, bacteria blooms, dinoflagellates, cyano, and then just problems with corals that just, they would die probably I wasn't an inexperienced reefer, but I'm dealing with 18 months, almost 2 years of just putting stuff in here and it's just dying.
It's not easy in the beginning, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was always just stuff that I never had issues keeping before, and it was unexplained because, the lighting was good, the flow was good, parameters were good, and, I'm losing dunking corals, I'm losing, all kinds of favias and the micromusas and stuff like that's just dying out of the blue.
And did you figure out what caused it? What was happening back then?
I decided to start thinking maybe there's like a bacterial cause or something like that, or maybe just it wasn't mature enough. So I started with, I don't know if you ever heard of Aquaforest Life Source. It's like a mud. They collect it in the ocean somewhere.
Kind of like a miracle mud type of thing?
Yeah, they tell you to actually dose it to the tank. So you mix it up, blend it up really well. You dose it a few times a week. And I don't know for sure that that's what did it, but I really saw.
Feeling that was part of it, maybe something.
Yeah, I thought maybe the microbiome just wasn't, something wasn't right.
Maybe like a new tank syndrome or something.
Yeah.
Look at you now.
Yeah.
Looks beautiful, so almost 5 years later.
Yep.
So the tank is dimensions, I want to say 4 feet long?
It's just under 4, they're like 47 or something like that.
47 and what, like 22 inches wide?
It's actually only about 20 inches wide.
20 inches?
Yeah.
Okay, and tall? 20?
I think it's 21.7 or something.
Okay, so rimless tank, and you have, for flow, you have 2 MP40s?
So I got 2 MP40s. This is actually the newer, the AI Orbit 4 that just came out. And then I have a Nero 3 over here just to kind of get some flow back here where it tends to get pretty
Wow,
big.
so you take flow very serious here.
Yeah, and it's kind of at a higher flow. I think it's running the nutrient transport right now on the MP40, so it's kind of ramping up, and it'll get rocking here pretty soon.
So you play with the flow a lot, different modes?
Yeah, I do a bunch of different modes through the day. I like to run nutrient transport a couple of times, just kind of, you can see it's starting to move back and forth.
Weight things up a little bit out of the rocks?
Yeah, you can see it trying to get the detritus out of the rocks and kind of move stuff up.
Do you ever go in there with a turkey baster and trying to clean them up and stuff like that?
I do.
So what are the biggest challenges that you will say you encounter when riding a mixed reef tank? Because this is a truly mixed reef tank. You got a lot of SPS, you got softies, you got a little bit of everything.
Yep. I mean, flow and lighting, easily the biggest things. I mean, I'm trying to get adequate lighting up at the top for the SPS and, not kind of, drown everything out here on the bottom. But what I have found is, if you acclimate stuff long enough,
we're used to it.
Right, they'll adapt to it. I have some areas that are kind of shaded over here. I'll start stuff over there and then just kind of gradually move it until I get it where I want it. And most of them, there's a few corals that I've gotten that just haven't been able to handle it, and those usually will get moved over to my nano tank where it's less light.
So some of your corals, man, they look so healthy. So where can we start? I mean, everything looks healthy. I can help you but to see how the clownfish here that hosting your red goniopora.
Yep.
You got the short tentacle gonioporas here. A month ago, we posted a video, Don't Do This is called, and it's basically playing with flow. It's Josh.
Yeah, I saw that.
You seen it?
Yep.
And man, it's someone like you understand the concept, and it takes a long time to really understand what is it that you're trying to achieve with flow, Because if you can put too much flow, some corals actually don't open and you can hurt your corals. You can actually kill some of your corals.
Right.
So even some aquaporas they get pissed off if you're giving too much flow.
Yeah.
And I can tell you got the flow thing. He's got it down to a science. So kudos to you, Ted. Seriously. What are some of your other favorite corals here?
I love this Fascination Fabia. I love that. Love the Raha Rampage. I just love.
Yeah.
That's something like that kind of exists in the wild, and it just looks so crazy. I love.
Can you imagine just diving underwater just with blue lights and just seeing
like
a 10 square mile full of this stuff?
Yeah, how does that stuff even exist? So I usually shoot for alkalinity like 8.3, right around there. It probably varies from like 7.8 to 8.5, depending on how many people are in the house, and it goes up and down with the pH.
That's what I like mine just a tad higher. 8.5 to 9 is what I aim to get mine.
Calcium's like about 430. Magnesium about 1400.
Okay.
And then nutrients, usually I'm around 0.1 to about 20 to 25 on nitrate. So 0.1 phosphate to 25 on nitrate.
And can you tell me a little bit about your food? What we feed the tank?
Yeah, so I got a whole mix. I usually, pellets, like I said, and the dry yeast. I've been doing a lot of that lately. I feed flake food also.
What kind?
I can't remember. It's from Brine Ship Direct. It's like an algae-based food. I feed that, and then I do a lot of frozen.
And how often do you feed?
I work from home, so I'm constantly feeding. I'll come down here a few different times during the day, and so it might be 5 or 6 times during the day. I'm dropping a little bit of food in there.
So you're similar to what we do.
Right. And I've also tried that Nutrimar food that you were feeding, and that's a good one just to kind of drop in every once in a while, just kind of sprinkle some.
That's what I like. Yeah. Sometimes if you want pellets, you throw them as pellets, you walk away.
Right.
But if you want to do that thing, I've been having fantastic results with it.
It's like you're feeding the whole tank with that stuff.
You can even grab there's another one that's from Nutrimar that you can actually stick it to the glass. Yeah. And water changes. Do you do water changes?
Yeah. So I nowadays I'm doing every 2 weeks on this tank. I think I do about 15 gallons on this every couple of weeks.
Okay.
I was doing them every week. I kind of cut back because I was a little bit too high. Our nutrients were kind of trimmed a little bit too low. Yeah. So I do a kind of a DIY 3-part. Okay. So I actually use sodium hydroxide for my alkalinity to bump my pH up, and then just like bulk calcium chloride. And then I use the Aquaforest, it's called Reef mineral salt as the part 3. So it's like a ball method basically that I'm doing.
And how do you dose on that?
Those are my Neptune doses.
Neptune doses? So you got a dose, and that you dose all 3 different ones?
Yep, and then I have the Trident, so I use the Trident controlled dosing. It adjusts the alk and everything every day.
And then can we talk a little bit about your lights?
So yeah, I got 4 Radion XR15 G5 Pros.
Okay, and what are these covers?
These are just some 3D printed from a place called 3D Reefing. These are covers, when you're sitting in the chair and looking at the tank, you get that kind of glare in your eyes, and these are just kind of keep the glare out of your eyes. They work really well.
And how many hours a day are you running your lights?
They come on at 11:30 and they go off right around 11:30 then, but there's like about an hour.
So like 12 hours.
Yeah, there's like an hour ramp between each side.
Can we look at some of your filtration?
Sure.
So I see you got your Red Sea roller mat here.
Yep.
And what kind of small pot is here? That's a Tunzi?
That's a Tunzi 9410 CC. Yep.
How do you like it?
I love it. That's probably the best skimmer I've ever owned.
For real?
Yeah.
I never played with it. I never had one, but
They're
Tunzi
simple.
makes great product. What kind of return pump do you have in here?
It's a Sicce SDC 6.
Okay. And what do we have here?
This is just a dog food container that I use for my top off.
Okay, so it's your ATO basically.
Yeah.
And what are you using for auto top off? What brand?
It's a Tunzi also. Just my alkalinity and calcium, and then the part C that I use. And then this is just the waste from the Trident.
That covers everything for this tank basically, right?
Yep.
But we got one more surprise. You have another tank and it looks beautiful. How big is it?
This is a 20 gallon.
Let's go check it out.
Sure.
All right, so what do we have here?
So this is a Innovative Marine Nuvo 20 all-in-one. This one's actually almost autopilot a little bit. I do the water change at the same time I do that one, and I really don't do a whole lot to it, so it's pretty easy to take care of.
Set and forget, right?
Yeah. I don't even test this tank.
But it looks fabulous. It's another mixed reef.
Yep.
You don't have, you got one aquapora up there too, actually. A lot of softies here, which is nice to see. Is that a good old Bam Bam Zoantids?
Bam Bams, yep.
Man, I still love them. I got a patch of them on my tank, big old patch, and it's still one of my favorite Zoas because they're so bright.
I think they're great. They used to be more in this tank, but you can see the scrambled eggs are back there. They took over everything, and that's actually just like a frag disc, and I took it out to try to get the Bam Bams to grow again because they were down to, I think there was like 3 polyps left. They were getting just overtaken by the scrambled eggs, so I had to move them out.
And you were telling me basically you don't do any dosing. Just the same water?
I do dose this with Reef, but I don't really test it. I'll test it every once in a while when I think about it, usually just alkalinity.
Just to make sure that nothing's going too out of whack.
Yep, but other than that, most of the stuff in here is, even the Acropora are easier to keep stuff. So
bulletproof corals, right?
It's like you can put them anywhere and they're just
tried and proven, right? That's what I call them.
Exactly, and they, and they still look great, right?
Looks amazing, man. Well, you're doing a fantastic job, man. I appreciate you inviting us over. Thank you very much, man. Hopefully, I'll see you in the store soon. I'll show you some of my tanks.
Definitely.
Next time you're over. In the meantime, guys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Give us a like. Post some comments below. We'll see you guys on the next episode.